Smart water. Smart water.
Chaos in Kabul. The Astros drop a close one to Kansas City. All that and more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show.
Get the screen on.
You just got 2 minutes for elbowing.
I saw it.
To the penalty box you go.
Good morning, sir.
How are you this morning?
I'm a little pensive.
Feisty, apparently.
I'm a little pensive about all this stuff going on in Afghanistan. I'm just when you think you'd kind of forgotten about Afghanistan, along comes all this chaos. We'll get into some of that.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear what our listeners think
I really
about. I would love
especially
to
some of those who have served, because
phone calls, text.
Seeing the posts from those who served over there, and a lot of them feeling that it's very much Vietnam 2.0. But let's do this.
The Wade and Carter weather brought to you by our great friends at Deerland Feed. It's 75 degrees in Victoria, Texas, heading to a high today of like 95. Is that right? 95?
Close enough.
95-ish. With a heat advisory in effect. It's just, It's so humid, folks. If you get outside, you're just going to start sweating. The fear is that if you're a little older or sickly at all, you can get dehydrated. So be very careful. Drink lots of water.
Please.
Drive between the lines. Don't go into the ditch. All the commonsensical things, but we forget it. You get outside, I'm going to pick a weed. Then you pick 10 weeds. And then the next thing you know, you're passed out in the yard.
Yeah.
Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. There you have it.
Hopefully you have the life alert.
Yeah, the life alert. See, you've got that frog that I had yesterday. I don't know what that is. It's allergies, but it's just nasty. As Dawn would say, it's nasty. Dawn Nicole's listening. Good morning, sweetheart. Who else you got?
Christina Wise.
Is that from Denver, or is she still here?
No, still here.
Okay, all right.
Justin Glass, Scott Tomko, Robin Moore Knipling, John Davis. Good morning. Bobby Leister. Leisterometer holding steady. Richard King, Arena Scherer.
It's Ricky Champagne.
Patrick Strauss, Stephen Kidder, Stuart Martin, Andy Ria Jr., Marvin Mickish. Oh, he added a junior to his name. I did not notice that before. Judge Posey, Amanda Smith King, Scott Tomko's in, Roy Gutierrez, Tracy Price, Daniel White, good morning, Matt O'Shea.
Hello, Matthew.
So,
Matt, you got to do a drive-by. I updated some color in my yard and even put a rose bush in a pot. Not sure how that's going to do, but it's a little knockout rose, and I put it in a big old 5-gallon, more than that, big pot,
Doing well?
Yeah, it looks pretty so far. Of course, when I bought it, it had flowers all over it. So you stick it in there. It's
I'm going to do something today.
Bouquet.
I'm going to do something today that I couldn't do yesterday because I was banned off Facebook for 24 hours.
Isn't that crazy?
Like and share the video, folks. Like and share the video. And I think did I tell you what it was for? I mean, it was sort of in jest, but it wasn't really. It was in response to all this rash of catalytic converter thefts that are going on in Victoria.
Who does that?
So I said, shoot first, ask questions later, and Facebook said that violated their
put him on the sidelines
on hate speech or promoting violence.
That's unbelievable. Yet they're huge Black Lives Matter people.
Yeah.
Don't worry about all the rioting.
John Davis says, thank you to all who have served in the fight against terrorism on foreign land to keep it from our soil. Do not let the failure of your current commander-in-chief define your service to our nation. Absolutely, sir. I pray that our nation awakens to the enemy from within.
Amen.
Scott Tomko asks, is Biden blaming Trump and taking credit for the craziness?
That's a good place just to end the show right there. Just say
Call
thank you. That's the message.
tomorrow.
That's the message we hope to purport.
Terry Murray's in, Chris Ray Brissett, Chris Conrad. Good morning, Jeremy Pena, Jesse Reynosa.
That's Sheree. Chris is
asleep. I know, but it's joint account. You can't split them. Can't do that.
someday for Christmas, maybe she'll give him his own account.
And I like to look at things somewhat critically.
I thought you were going to say different than other people. Good morning, Sheriff Louderback.
Well, there may be some of that too.
Yeah.
But we were supposed to be out of Iraq 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
I'm ready.
Don't let the name fool you.
I've got smart water. You know what Ash told me? How smart can you be? You pay $3 for a bottle of water.
That's exactly it. I was just going to say. Not so smart. The only smart ones are those getting rich off $3 bottle of water.
And if you get a smaller, like a 16 ounce, it's just dumb water.
Yeah, it's not enough.
Yeah.
But we were supposed to be out of there May 1 under President Trump's plan to get out of Afghanistan. I don't know enough about the details of that plan to know whether or not we wouldn't be in a similar situation than we are now. I do know that while he was president, the Taliban weren't running around taking provincial capitals in Afghanistan.
No, and
setting themselves up to do this.
Trump said the other day when he basically Joe Biden blamed this on Trump. He said, hey, we'd be in the same boat if Donald Trump was president. Same thing. And Trump just sent to him failure through weakness. And I think that sums up Joe Biden in general. Scott Taylor checks in. Good morning, sir.
Sheriff Louderback is in, Lisa Poole, Natalie Mayer, Diane Tippett. But listening to some folks on the drive in this morning, current people serving this country, concerned that all we've done is undermine our troops the next time we have to go in somewhere and rely on oppressed individuals in a country that we are trying to help bring about democracy, and that the locals that we need help from will not be as willing to do it.
Well, it's kind of like the king is dead, long live the king. You know, when the U.S. decides to abandon you and the bad guys come back in and take over, you better pick up one of their flags if you want to live, because they got no problem shooting you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a shame, but
how
about that? The Taliban has given Christian leaders notice, I'm assuming, to get out of the country.
Well, or they're not going to get a chance to get out of the country. They'll just kill them. That's what they do. Horrifying images out of the airport yesterday of people being run over by planes leaving the country, people falling off of planes from several thousand feet in the air.
Yeah, that's crazy. I saw it. I mean, they're falling out of the wheel wells. Yeah. Natalie Mayer says, hey, it's crazy. A person would spend that much for a bottle of water. It's the price of a gallon of gas. The last time I drank gasoline, I had a really bad indigestion.
Don't do that again.
I don't recommend that.
Scott Tomko says, future Governor West on Fox this morning. We better be minding our southern border. We will have Alan West on the show again tomorrow morning. So looking forward to that conversation. I really want to dive into Afghanistan with him, since he served there. Yeah. Adam Sugar says Afghan and Iraqi men are cowards. It looked like an army trying to load the planes that could have been fighting, I don't know, the Taliban.
Yeah, legit.
Yeah, you're not the first to bring that up in several discussions that I had yesterday and online chats that they especially in Afghanistan, where you really have a mindset of almost mercenary type of thinking. They just, whoever pays them more, that's who their allegiance is to that day or that minute. And so it's, that makes it tough to try to even trust anybody.
You better hope Posey doesn't kick up my rate.
You're in countries where, they chant death to America, but that was friendly. I took a screenshot of this because I could not believe what I was hearing yesterday. CNN reporter in Kabul, I think, outside the embassy, they're just chanting death to America, but they seem friendly at the same time.
Other than that, death to America, but they're friendly.
That's a mostly peaceful protest.
Except for the fire and the and the carnage.
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous.
What a deal.
Sheree says, no, they're going to kill them on the spot. Absolutely. John Davis says they're executing the interpreters we left behind. Yeah, those are the ones that are certainly probably at the forefront because they were the most visible in aiding Americans in Afghanistan because they were the conduit to speaking to folks.
Patrick Strauss makes a very legit point. The hypocrisy of the left, remember, folks, always their biggest tell. Biden said, the buck stops here with me. I'm the commander-in-chief, and I stand by my decision. And in the same breath, it's Donald Trump's fault. Bill Posey made a good point this morning. I love the Bill Posey show. It's just on before us, 6:15 to 7. And he made the comment that if this would have gone down on Trump's watch, they would have been talking about that he was incompetent and Rule 25 or Article 25, and they'd have been saying they wanted to impeach him and all this stuff. But with Biden, oh, no, it's just Trump's fault. So it's okay. None of this is Biden's fault. Even if you're a Democrat, you have to look at the gross hypocrisy of your government. I mean, if the Democrats, if we could get, I've always said that organized religion is to a degree a tool of the devil. The Catholics just believe the Baptists don't dance. The Baptists all believe the Catholics drink too much. The Presbyterians and Methodists, lost in there is that we all believe in Jesus Christ. That's how the devil keeps us apart. Because if we all got together instead of having our own little special interest group, we could be really powerful. Well, if Americans got together and agreed that the government is just a necessary evil and that the less government there is, the better, we'd all be better off as a mass of people. And the reality is the Democrats just want to blame the Republicans. The Republicans just want to blame the Democrats. And lost in the message is that Bush and Trump and Barack and Biden have all been involved in this melee going on in Afghanistan. 2 and 2, 2 of each of them. So I can't throw all of this on Joe Biden. I can throw the final quarter on Joe Biden and say he looks like, what's the Harden guy?
Joe Pisarcik, fumbling.
What's the Harden guy that plays for the
James Harden?
He's like the James Harden of military activity. When you need him late in the fourth, he folds up.
Good morning, Wayne Carter.
Did you really?
Really?
Is Facebook not the most abusive form?
For all the danger that women and children are now in Afghanistan because of the Taliban and their iron-handed rule and complete disregard for women and kids, seeing the inside of some of these planes evacuating Afghanistan, and it's nothing but men. So you might be onto something.
Yeah. It's not like the Titanic where they put all the ladies and children in the boats first and the men went down with the ship. Here it's like, get out of the way. You're just chattel, and I'm getting on the plane. Yep. Yeah. Okay, Big Will. Is that crazy?
How about that experience firsthand? Did we lose him? Yeah. Was that Adam?
That was Adam.
Okay.
I think, yeah. Yeah.
Call back, Adam. If you can call back, I'd like to hear.
We didn't ban you.
We didn't ban you.
You're not banned by us.
No, 95.9 FM, or
Still
the Magic app.
By the way, he can call us, and it's still on Facebook. Ha!
Magic95victoria.com. You can listen there as well.
Folks, Alan's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Alan's your go-to to. Alan will get you from here to there and basically functions as a first responder. You have an accident, you have a fender bender, call 578-6300. Hang on for a second, caller. 578-6300. Let Alan come out and get you safely to where you need to be. The VCS companies, I visited with Jim Hartman yesterday. He was having a great day, so tell you hi. All of you and Ash. The VCS company's for all your surveillance and security needs. If you have fire suppression needs, like in a restaurant, if you have fire extinguisher needs, if you need telecommunications all throughout buildings, and you need intercom systems or all of that stuff. If it communicates,
monitors, surveils, listens.
And don't forget, right now is a great time to be at the only Victoria locally owned, authorized
AT&T
retailer.
All
and
your
they do a great job on Kerr Boulevard, just off Main, just inside the loop. Chesnick Furniture Company. You just do better at Chesnick. Chesnick and Love make your house a home. Reach out today for a new house full of furniture, half off.
Financing available, low and no down payment plans.
They'll deliver today. Bobby Leon and his family are just fantastic Americans.
Bobby might even decide to drive the truck.
He might even drive out there. He's a little sketchy in reverse, but be careful. But it'd be great to have Bobby come out to your house and help you firsthand situate everything in your home. And then Veracruz today, it's the Tuesday before Caldo Wednesday. Everything is great. I've been hearing rave reviews again about something else Dawn won't let me eat there, which is the drowning enchiladas. Yeah, but it's just an enchilada covered in queso, then covered like with a salad. It's just, you could call it an enchilada salad, I guess, if you wanted to try to skirt the
doesn't sound as good.
Skirt the Mexican food Nazis that lurk over your shoulders. But hang on, we have.
You want to go today, and I'll eat that, and I'll tell you how it was.
Unbelievable. Adam, is that you back? Tell us about your time there, sir. For real, just tell our listeners what you experienced, what you remember about landing in country, and what it was like being in Afghanistan. Do you think it's just a culture of being beat down for years and years by terrorism and fear and different regimes, or is it a religious issue? What is it that makes them not? James Kerr said when I asked about, is it their religion, is it their culture? He says it's all of the above. B.J. Nelson adds, these people have been fighting since Bible times. We need to take care of our own crumbling country. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
It's economics. we're trying to help them.
We want the lithium.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's crazy, man.
I appreciate
well,
that.
Hey, go have a good day. And thanks for your
Enjoy
call.
your 7-day vacation from Facebook.
Yeah, thanks for your service.
And thank you.
Bye, brother. Isn't that what you always say when you get banned? I needed a break. Social media is dumb when they tell you not to come in.
Jeremy Pena says, even in Iraq, when I was deployed to combat tour on combat 4 combat tours, I think is that what it says?
Yep.
Adam has it right. Just because they have our guns and equipment doesn't mean they can use it or it will work in a week.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but again, it is part of that from centuries of just trying to eke out an existence and stay alive. That's your focus. It's not on educating yourself. It's not on learning new skills. Your only skill set is to survive. That's your focus over there. I mean, it's brutal. And
like when they called you Ashwina in prison,
centuries
trying to survive.
Centuries of oppression. Not sure what that had to do with anything.
You didn't want to dance with all the boys in the commissary. You just did what you had to do to survive.
But does this put the exclamation point on Donald Trump's vision of not wanting to be the world police, pulling back, getting us out of wars, not going to get us into any new wars?
Isn't that funny? You would have thought with Donald Trump's personality, we would be in wars all over the world, but were we? No.
I mean, you have to admit, for a guy with no foreign policy experience,
he did pretty good. He moved that embassy that 4 presidents before him talked about doing.
Didn't cost him $700 million or whatever the one in Afghanistan cost either.
You're kind of like the Postal Service, like neither wit nor tactlessness or sarcasm will deter you from your pre-appointed
No,
rant.
it can, but none of that was included in anything you were saying.
Right. Okay, Judge. Okay, Judge.
See,
I've got my smart water. What else do you
need
want?
More of it.
Can't afford anymore. Too dumb.
Yeah. Adam Daughtry. Did Adam Daughtry say something?
I don't know. Maybe he thought that Adam Daughtry was Adam Sugar. But that's cool though. That
maybe so.
And by the way, Adam Daughtry is the man, so it's okay that he said that.
Scott Tomko says number he's seen was $978 billion invested so far since 2001 in Afghanistan. I've seen numbers ranging from anywhere from 1 to 3 trillion. And I'm going to err on the high side because it's the government.
And does it matter anymore?
Not really.
What if it was 5 trillion? Does it really matter? Is a trillion ain't what it used to be?
Is that any more important than the thousands of lives lost over there that for a war we didn't win?
Or the young man, the man who's 27 years old now and is missing both of his legs.
Yeah.
That's the deal. Like I said, is there a cause? There may be a cause that I'm willing to go fight for, but is there a cause that I'm willing to send my son to fight for? I don't know. Some of this stuff, I'm like, wait a minute. We have drones. We have aircraft. I mean, the Air Force never loses anybody. Just go bomb the hell out of them and get it over with.
And this was all, this all stemmed from a House and Senate resolution on September 14th, 2001 that were passed unanimously in the Senate. I think 98-0 because 2 abstained or weren't there for the vote.
Mitt Romney.
And I think in the House it was all but 1. I think there was 1 Democrat lawmaker from California. Name escapes me at the moment. Barbara something.
This was in 01.
This was in 01.
Yeah, but you know
against it.
They claim now. And by the way, there's a letter today.
And it wasn't just Afghanistan. This was a war against any country, entity, harboring terrorism, abetting, aiding terrorism. It was pretty broad in scope, but it allowed us to get into Afghanistan where we've been for a quagmire of 20 years. Joe Biden voted for it in the Senate. Ron Paul voted for it in Congress, in the House. Here's a guy who's pretty much since then been a staunch anti-interventionist.
Well, wasn't it for the most part you weren't American if you weren't for going and getting these people? And didn't George W. Bush,
the propaganda war won out, didn't it?
Didn't he do a great job of selling Americans on the idea that we've got to go get these people? And he stood in the rubble of the Twin Towers and said, "We know who you are, and we're coming to get you."
And we needed to. And we talked about it yesterday. The problem there was Afghanistan may have been the place where they might have been hiding at one point, or the training grounds. Pakistan was the country that kept Osama bin Laden hidden for 11 years? But we had no end game. We had no goal in sight. We were just going to go over there and figure it out when we got over there.
Folks, just so you know, and I'm going to go to a break here in a second, this is not so much about politics as it's about Ash and I trying to figure out how to recap the Cowboys games every week coming up. So we're just things like you'll hear us say repeatedly, we had no goal. We had no end game. It's just preparing for the Cowboys to go 8-9.
And no air attack. We had no ground attack.
No air attack, and our ground attack was weak. Yeah. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you won't have it today. You want to do something great today, go to Atzenhofer, atzenhofer.com. Since 1926, Victoria's dealership.
Chevy, Cadillac, Mitsubishi, Mazda, pre-owned of all makes and models.
Great paint and body shop. Go over there and see Daryl. Talk to him.
Here's the challenge of the day for Atzenhofer. Go trade in your truck and see if they can find you one somewhere.
They find you a truck. I've got this 2015 with 170,000 miles. It's $47,900.
Actually, they've got some pretty good deals over there.
Since 1926. Yeah. BJ Nelson and her team. BJ, a faithful listener, a great contributor. 550-1826. That's the number for White Trash Services.
You'll talk to somebody.
They promise you a trash-tastic day if you'll reach out, whether you need weekly trash service in the 7-county region where you can hear us on the radio, or you need a roll-off dumpster for a big project, or you want to go all the way and bring in White Trash Site Services to help you clear a lot. They can do that right here in the city. They'll bring a dumpster, clear that lot to nothing. It'll be flat and ready to go. You can build your own Dunkin' Donuts or Arby's, or you can have your own cholesterol city. Where your ass is fat and you got man titties. Take me down. That's nice. 550-1826. That's the number for White Trash Services. Razor IT Solutions. JP Hull says he's busier than ever because people are waking up to the idea that the Chinese, they're not just throwing viruses, they're trying to hack into your website. If you collect money on the internet and you don't have Razor IT Solutions between you and the world, you're losing money right now. You just don't know it. Because the Indians, the Chinese, the Russians, they're all trying to. These aren't Indians like
you don't hear of these folks attacking businesses in their own countries. They're coming after American companies.
Yep. Because they've got money.
And our administration doesn't do it.
No, but Razor IT Solutions will help you. The law offices of Steve Kidder. We're going to get into this now. I'm doing a little more follow-up. We joked yesterday about what if this guy, what was his name? Drug dealer extraordinaire?
I don't remember. I tend to not really lament on such details of criminal
Ash and I, being judge and jury, had decided this guy was guilty. But guess who got assigned to be his lawyer? Steve Kidder. I'm giving the guy 50-50. I think Steve Kidder's such a fine attorney. The beautiful thing is Steve Kidder will make certain that the man gets due process. That's the key. The man will get his day in court because of a guy like Steve Kidder, and I applaud him for that. The law offices of Steve Kidder will go to bat for you as well. Reach out to Steve for all your needs. It doesn't have to be something as complicated as when you get arrested for 47 counts of drugs. It can be you want to adopt a child. You want to create a will or a trust, or you want to develop a partnership. Steve Kidder he enjoys doing that. Reach out to him and let him help. And then, of course, Complete and the Health Bar. Donnie showed me a photo just yesterday. It was freshly posted on the Complete 360 Facebook page of a bowl. And it is beautifully fresh, bright colors. The food looks amazing, and they're going to have that right here at the Health Bar on Red River, right next to Woodlawn Bowl. I do want to tell you, and I don't even know if I told you this, Ash, and I apologize. I did get a couple of phone calls yesterday that I welcomed. I've started to notice, and hats off to you folks, our listeners, because lots of people listen that don't check in. And that's fine. I mean, you don't have to put your name on there. I'm not so sure I'd want to be associated with us either, unless I just really had the chutzpah to do it. But I got a couple of phone calls yesterday in regards to our commentary. It wasn't tongue in cheek, but I think it was admittedly off the top of our heads about this drug dealer. Like, why is this guy still on the streets? Well,
it's a question we asked.
And I got feedback yesterday from city officials and from others. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that Wade and Carter can initiate a conversation. It spurs thought, and that people come back to us as a conduit for the truth. This gentleman has some issues, and it turns out, hats off to Constance Philly Johnson and her department, although we never said she had done anything incorrect. We just said, hey, you immediately say, when's our DA going to go get this person? Well, she has. And hats off to VPD. I've got a call out to the gentleman I call Top Cop, Chief Arredondo, and I'm hoping he will come on and give us his perspective on the department as a whole. There's some good things going on, and and this is one of the results, is that these types of people are being taken off of our streets. So thanks to all of you that reached out, and thanks to those of you that are listening now that don't put your name on the screen. So good job all. Victoria's got some great people in leadership. I mean, I talked to Jeff Botnight the other day, and he said he's excited about the entire council and just the direction they're all going. So I'm very excited for the city in the future. And Jesus is doing a great job. Mr. Garza, I think is very pro-growth, pro-economic development. And the VEDC is focusing hard. Nancy Garner does a great job heading that up. So we're going to see what happens. Very excited about Victoria, where we're heading.
James Kerr says the people in the city he was in eventually learned and gained the will to fight back. When he was there, it was great to see a shop owner step out and fire back at Al-Qaeda.
Very cool. If you live there all the time, at some point you got to stand up for yourself. You would think,
Yeah. Randy Langston says, what's sad, they're willing to die to run away in fear than to die fighting for their homes and their freedom. And no, there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
Steve Kidder says Trump neutralized North Korea for a minute as well.
Yeah, he did. And, he kind of did it diplomatically. At the end of the day, him and Kim Jong-un kind of had an agreement. I thought it was interesting that the minute that Trump was out of office, Kim Jong-un said, I didn't like Donald Trump, but I respected Donald Trump.
Which means he feared him.
And he said, Joe Biden's weak. And you know what? I challenge you to tell me otherwise. I challenge anybody out there to call Mike Gomez. You listen. Call us and tell us what a great guy Joe Biden is.
Imagine right now if this was going on under Donald Trump's watch.
Oh, impeach him. What a bungled
And he
effort.
was down at Mar-a-Lago playing golf while all this was going on.
Which, by the way, is probably where he would have been. But, that's the whole deal. All of these government people are schleps. They are. Trump was just the lesser of the evils. I'm not a hero worshiper. I don't look at him as some great hero. He just actually did what we thought needed to be done.
Well, he pretty much, aside from draining the swamp, which we agreed did not go far enough,
or building the wall
and getting the wall built, he pretty much did everything he said he was going to do, which is refreshing in politics.
But everything he pointed out to you people way back when the news media in total mocked him, when he said, this virus is man-made, it came from China. And he did it to let the Chinese know, I know what you did. And everybody was like, he's a racist, he's picking on the Chinese, they're our friends. You people are dumb. They're not your friends. And they did unleash the virus on us. So hats off to him. Hats off to Trump for having the guts to say, this is the way it really is. Oh, and then they said that, they had the dossier that was all fake. They had Hunter Biden, who's still high, but now he gets paid $500,000 for a painting so you can meet his dad.
Yeah.
And Americans just go, that's free enterprise. That's good. But free enterprise is bad. We need to be communist. This country is as in the dumps as it's ever been in my lifetime. No doubt about it. Is it still the best place to live? I don't know. Sweden's looking pretty good.
No, it's not.
Get me a Volvo.
It's not.
I've already got a blonde. Sweden's not good. What about New Zealand? Kind of off the coast of Australia.
They lock everybody down.
I could be locked down with TLAT on a hillside with a little wispy smoke coming out of the chimney.
BJ Nelson says, guts, the Biden administration doesn't know that word.
No, it's a true story, folks. We are a spineless country at the top, and that's a problem. And then you got like the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. I don't know. I want to understand what makes white people think they're better than everybody. I just want to understand. I don't need a woke military. I need a military people are scared to death of.
Exactly. And we don't have that right now.
I mean, I want my military walking down the street, and I'm afraid to look at it.
Let me rephrase that. We have a military that people are afraid of in the sense that they no longer trust us to do what we say, to carry out what. That's who's caught in the problem in the middle here.
The service person.
Our soldiers on the ground and our servicemen and women on the ground, in the air, on the ships, they're the ones caught and will no longer be trusted by those we need to help us if and when this happens. And I have no doubt with the cluster that's going on in Afghanistan and the way the Taliban is raising its ugly head, Joe Biden will get us back into Afghanistan. It's going to happen. How can he sit there and not go back and clean up the mess that he's created, or certainly finished creating? Let me put it that way, because 20 years and 4 administrations of meandering policy and no end game, no plan, and the only strategy was to build the coffers of those who make the war machines.
It is interesting that I saw a comparison, a side-by-side of what was purported to be on both parts. Whole thing could have all been made up, but it was very well done if it wasn't. If it was, I mean. And one was a Russian military ad, and it was these big Eastern, they all looked like Gronkowski, and they were angular-jawed, good-looking guys, and they show them like in the white suits, laying in the snow, doing sniper-type things, just scary men that you want on that wall, you need on that wall. And then they showed the American, and it was a female, and she was just typing away, and I'm learning computer skills that I can use after the military when I go to college on the GI Bill. And I'm like, which one are you afraid of? Now, she might have the codes to launch the nukes for all we know, but at the end of the day, I want a military that, like I've said for years, I want the Cowboys to be more like the Pittsburgh Steelers. I want people to be scared to death of them, even though it's a mystique that may not even be real anymore. The Steelers used to be scared. Lambert, Ham, crazy people.
Chris Ray says one thing about Americans: we can and will pull together in crises. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. We do a good job at that.
We didn't go in with purpose.
But we're in a crisis.
If our purpose was to get rid of Osama bin Laden, that should have been the end of it at that point. Barack Obama should have pulled us out of Afghanistan once we got him.
But don't you feel like, looking back, if we're objective, I voted for the man at least twice for governor, and I voted for him twice for president. So I'm not injecting my politics here. Didn't George W. Bush mislead us a little bit? Didn't we get kind of sold a bill of goods
on the weapons of mass? I said it even then, though. He went back to finish his daddy's war because another example of not finishing the job that we needed to do. And you could argue going back to the end of World War II, when we should have just steamrolled through Russia and got rid of Stalin. We've had a history of doing this. as the U.S. and the Western world. Because the U.S. wasn't the only ones. The U.S. wasn't the only ones that didn't want to finish off the job in Iraq. It was Australia, Canada, England, everybody else that was in there.
Russia was bad back then. Everybody knew it. From the minute World War II was over, Russia was not our ally any longer. But they just knew that Hitler was worse. They were all scared to death of the Nazis.
And the world was tired of war.
But why? That's true. But it would have taken very little just to shove all of those Russians up into Siberia. Of course, if that had happened, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, well, I don't know that it would have, to be honest. Soviet soldiers,
they have resolve.
They have resolve.
But we had the bomb.
It's.
We could have melted Siberia.
Our political leaders were laughing at the Soviets when Mikhail Gorbachev ended the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. They can't do anything. That's what happens when you're communists.
It'll take us 6 weeks to clean up Afghanistan. I remember that being like, it's no big deal. They're just a bunch of people running around like mountain goats. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They held on against us for 20 years.
If we had, I want to know who's going to call for the congressional investigation into the absolute disarray that whatever plan was in place to leave Afghanistan turned into. Where's the This is where an investigation needs to happen, not into an insurrection that's already being investigated by the FBI, Department of Justice, local law enforcement, Capitol Police. We've got 4 or 5 law enforcement agencies already looking into what happened at the Capitol on January 6th. Congress does not need to be involved. Congress definitely needs to be involved in looking into what the hell happened so that Afghanistan turned into the death pool that it became yesterday and over the weekend and then the last week. That's where Congress needs to be looking into, not January 6th.
Yeah, I agree. James Kerr kind of jokingly says, there's things we may never know, like, who killed JFK. I'm listening to a book right now called Killing the Mob by Bill O'Reilly. And
you have that thing on slow play?
Yeah. Well, I don't drive as much as I used to because gasoline, thanks to Biden, is like $9 a gallon. But it is interesting when you start getting into the plausibility side that, JFK really hated Bobby and John, and JFK had some authority over the CIA. The CIA really hated JFK after the Bay of Pigs and everything that went down over there. And the CIA felt like Kennedy was a loose cannon who was wrong as much as he was right. The CIA knew just how close the missiles of October brought the country to the brink of nuclear holocaust. And then you throw in that the mafia was being pressured relentlessly by Bobby Kennedy, tremendous number of indictments and people being incarcerated. And you could plausibly see where a man like JFK could fall asunder to people like LBJ saying, well, you do what you have to do, boys. You do what you have to do, to the CIA. And the CIA contracts out with the mob. The CIA had already contracted out with the mob to kill Fidel Castro. They wanted Castro dead because Castro had seized all of the casinos.
Yeah.
And the mob hated Castro. They offered to do it for free. CIA offered the mob $150,000 to kill Castro. They were going to do it with poison. And they said, we'll do it for free, but we're going to do it our way. They wanted to go in there and just shoot him. And I think it's highly, highly likely that some combination of LBJ, the CIA, and the organized crime syndicate, the mob, the La Cosa Nostra in the United States, teamed up. They found an idiot who could shoot in the form of Lee Harvey Oswald. I do believe now there was only one shooter. And then they had a guy named Jack Ruby who owed the mob, who was a 2-bit mobster, but he was also dying of cancer. And they said, there you go. Go shoot Oswald. And when it's all said and done, you'll die comfortably in a prison because they'll take care of you with medicine. Think about the idea that a man who's a known mobster,
That's
walked into the Dallas Police Department and had a weapon and shot Lee Harvey Oswald right in front of law enforcement. Oh, and nobody shot him.
And the Warren Commission really didn't solve anything.
No, it was just Lee Harvey bought him a Mannlicher Carcano and just went and shot the president because he was mad at him.
And we had Capitol Police moving barricades and opening doors for people on January 6th. Is there not a parallel there?
Yeah.
Jack Ruby gets access to the basement of the Dallas Police Department.
Yep.
People being given access to the Capitol.
But the sheep in this country take everything
and the
at
federal government
surface,
are going to investigate both of them.
surface value. Oh, yeah, there'll be the Schumer Commission will determine that there was really nothing to see at the Capitol. Motto Mortgage, there's something to see. You want to see your monthly house payment go down?
You want to see your bank account grow?
Go see Terry Murray or call her today at 541-5454. What you need to do, you need to know how much you owe on your home. You need to be fairly close on what it's worth. Well, I live in a $300,000 house. I owe $110,000 on it, and my payment's $1,410 a month.
Lower that payment.
And my interest rate's 4.75. Oh, wow. Well, if we can get you down to 2.5 with your good credit, next thing you know, your payment's $1,100 a month. There's $300 a month that goes to you. Oh, well, I don't hate my payments so much. I'd like just to make my term a little shorter. Well, instead of 15 years, now you owe 11. Oh, well, is there any way I could get some cash and remodel this kitchen just to make me feel good? Yep. Now your payment's still $1,400 and it's still for 15 years, but now you got $50,000 for your kitchen. Reach out to 541-5454. The numbers are easy. The math doesn't lie. The
scenarios presented by Brent Carter are not actual facts.
Future earnings are not tied to current interest rates.
Go see Terry Murray or give her a call, 541-5454.
Went Services, home, commercial, new, remodel, big, little, plumbing, electrical, solar panels, generators. Please get the picture. Be a smart audience. Call Went Services for all of that. Do it today. Tell Carl Wendt that Wade and Carter sent you. When you call these people, tell them Wade and Carter sent you. Wade and Carter said you could make my car look brand new, AJ. Well, let me see it first. Take it by AJ's Detailing right there on Main Street.
Ain't going to do much if you got a bunch of dents and dings.
Right? You have to go to Atzenhofer first and then take it to AJ. AJ's Detailing, please go check out his Facebook page. He's doing amazing things. It's just incredible that you go and see a car. You see a car when it's brand new and you think that's as good as it can look. If you take it straight to him and he deals with the paint and puts a ceramic coat on it, you're just like, that's unbelievable. Awesome. It is awesome. And then, of course, USA Concrete Coatings, 578 Home. 578 Home is the number you dial when you want a tough polyurethane coat on your garage floor. 4 times stronger than any other epoxy product on the market. It's like stainless steel with flex. Charlie Garcia will come out and fill all the cracks in your concrete floor, clean it usually in one day, and put down a tough coating. Somebody we haven't mentioned in a while is our friend Cheryl. Reach out to Cheryl at the Gray Barn. She's been super busy. She said, guys, back off the advertising. Give her a call at 920-6803. Cheryl can help you with your next party, make it memorable. Give her a call. Trust me, she does the best work anywhere. Nobody else does the kind of stuff that Cheryl does decorating. You give her a theme, she decorates. She didn't plan your party. She ain't going to tell you what to eat. She'll help you with some of those things if you need it. She can tell you what to take. Yeah, but she wants you to. I mean, when was the last time you went to a wedding and they had cheese curds and bratwurst? I mean, don't. Really? Wisconsin. Don't get with her on the menu. Get with her on the flower arrangements. What else you got at 7:52? Funky Trey Molina asked, 20 years, 4 presidents. Do you think not having a plan is 25% blame, more percent on one or the other? Yeah, I haven't gotten it down to that. All have some culpability here. I put a lot of this on
I do think the exit plan. The exit plan, though, I think was primarily on Biden.
Yeah, Biden. Here's the deal. What the Taliban felt comfortable doing was spitting in the face of America because they knew Joe Biden was a wuss and wouldn't do anything.
6 weeks, not even. Yeah, about 6 weeks ago. Just after July 4th, the Taliban started taking over provincial capitals in Afghanistan. And Joe Biden was asked in a press conference.
July the 8th. And he said, nothing's going to happen. I highly doubt that they're going to overrun Kabul. That's not going to happen. Instead of saying, not on my watch, If they do that, they'll remember us for our last days in the country. He was like going, please don't do anything so we can just sneak out. Of course they're going to run you out. They can't wait to spin this to the Taliban won. The Taliban won. It's arguable they did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alabama top in the, we'll switch gears, go 180 degrees. Alabama top in the AP poll. Any surprise there?
No. I mean, why? If you didn't know who to bet for, you'd bet for Alabama. Who else is in that poll? What do they got the Aggies?
Oklahoma's number 2.
Rightfully so, because they've got the easiest path. Texas is not any good, and Oklahoma should walk right through the Big 12.
Clemson number 3, Ohio State number 4, Georgia number 5. Those are the teams that got first place votes.
So what about so is
A&M's at number 6.
Clemson has that backup quarterback that was really effective in the week that he played for
Trevor
Lawrence. How is Trevor Lawrence looking in the NFL? Any report on him at all?
Mixed reviews. I haven't paid a bunch of close attention to it, but looking at a couple of articles on it, kind of mixed reviews.
Sam Elliott apparently
10 out of 15, 155 yards, but 1 pick, but he looked good this year.
How about that? 10 of 15, 155 yards, 1 pick, and a game-winning drive at the end for the Colts.
Right.
You got to wonder if Clemson is in a similar situation to Oklahoma. The ACC is just fairly easy to win. I mean, Clemson's got a fairly easy path, as does OU. Texas is terrible. Nobody else really challenges OU.
Texas is number 21 in that poll.
And that's
I
just
I think them being in the top 25 is
that's why
garbage.
That's why they're there. So we'll talk about it. But it does let you know that just how far it falls. Where do they have the Aggies? Like 6?
Right on the outside.
Right, which is where that's the best they've ever been all my life. They're just right on the outside.
Well, you can't put 3 SEC teams in the top 5.
Why not? It's the best conference in football. SEC. Why wouldn't you do that?
You can't.
Because Vanderbilt's better than anybody else in the Pac-12. South Carolina's better than Notre Dame because they play in the SEC.
Oregon, the top-ranked Pac-12 team at number 11.
Phil Knight bought that spot from Nike. He bought that spot.
Name, image, likeness.
Right.
But what's interesting? If I remember correctly, the Pac-12 had the best bowl game record of all the conferences.
Jeff Fonseca says, where's LSU in this deal?
Yeah, they are. They're down a ways, 16.
Go Tigers.
I'm not sure that's where they need to be either.
Hey, you guys hold it down over there. I'm doing a press conference.
I don't think Texas and LSU belong in the top 25.
Go Tigers.
I feel good on that.
Texas and LSU, 2 very similar football programs. Did you know I saw something the other day, Brother Gary? This is from the living in the past deal.
Except LSU has a more recent national championship.
Stop it. Out. Did you know that there's only one school in the country that's in the top 20 of all-time wins in football, basketball, and baseball? Texas. And that just tells you how long they've been playing sports, because we've never been a great basketball program. We're in the top 20 all-time in wins. It's crazy.
I like that.
It's going to get bad for the left, folks. 2 of their poster children, Prince Andrew in the UK, being named a person of interest in that country's investigation into Jeffrey Epstein.
Prince Andrew. Oh yeah, he's the older one. He's Charles's baby brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's dirty, though. He was the one that there's pictures of him with that 13-year-old girl or whatever.
And then Bob Dylan apparently got sued, allegedly drugging and sexually assaulting an underage girl.
Have you seen Bob Dylan?
This was back in 1965.
He needed all the help he could get.
This is all going all the way back to 1965.
Yeah, they're like, can't he just go, I have no recollection?
Well, that's probably why they're suing him and not, there's no charges. I'm sure the statute of limitations is.
I don't know if the statute of limitations ever runs out on that, but I know that
there probably was no crime against doing that in 1965. Let's be honest.
Can you imagine 60s. Bob Dylan on the stand? That's pretty good right there. That's good. A lot of y'all didn't get that, but that's okay.
That's all
That's
right.
all right.
Greg Garcia says, "Is it bad that football season's here and I really don't give a flip about it?"
No, I think it's American. Hats off to you, Greg. And I mean that I'm at the point where I want to watch college football the next couple of seasons. I want to see. I think it's imperative that after this year, Texas and OU play in the SEC. You can't wait till 2025, at least in football. Just make it happen. But on the professional side, I mean, I don't like any of the players. I'm just,
I'm not a big NFL exhibition season. Stop this preseason crap because it really, I mean, the NFL, I think, took the right step when they went to 17 games. I think they need to take it to 18 games. Get rid of these exhibition games that do nothing.
Get rid of these bye weeks. Just play.
But I turned on that Washington football team New England game last night just because the Astros game was back and forth and it was over. They lost to Kansas City. I think 9-8 was the final.
7-6, I think.
Or was it 7-6?
I could be wrong.
I don't know. I thought it was 9-8. But anyway, Odorizzi stunk it up again. 5 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs.
Yeah, he's something like 5-7 with a 4 or something. He needs to go. He's not going to be here next year. You can bet on that.
But I think they thought maybe he would have some magic
rejuvenation.
Yeah,
but then they won't let him scuff anymore. Yeah. Now that the Astros can't put stick 'em on him, it doesn't work.
But that Washington New England game was just painful to watch.
Yeah.
Preseason football in the NFL is a terrible display of football, folks. It's horrible. I don't care if you're a fan of the team or not. New England doesn't have the allure it did when they had Tom Brady. That's part of it. Yeah. But Tom Brady wasn't going to play in that game yesterday anyway. But preseason NFL football sucks.
So BJ Nelson says, that's why we need to support high school football. That's where the true spirit and life lessons are learned. You know what scares me about that? If you and I go to a St. Joe game, you and I are going to leave with about $300 worth of St. Joe gear because BJ is going to be hawking it. I'll have a Carter button on. You'll have right. It'll all be.
Stay home on Friday nights.
Yeah, I'll have a blue and white jersey. Greg Garcia says, I have no emotional connection to the NFL anymore. These so-called athletes are a bunch of entitled children. I could explain why Greg no longer watches the NBA, but that would be redundant. Yeah. Is there anything worse? You watch Michael Jordan out there playing with his left leg, basically in a cast, and you got LeBron James takes a charge and has to miss 3/4 of a game. Oh, no doubt. Real basketball. Folks, we got to go. It's Tuesday. It's just after the top of the hour, which means it's like Thursday morning in Newfoundland. We're always grateful for all of our Canadian listeners. We haven't forgotten you. We think about you every day. Stay tuned for the Hall of Famer Ralph Salazar.
And the Brother Man.